incredible. They've been doing so well, and I want to see them keep that up because it is so difficult to be consistent in these lobbies. We've gotten pretty favorable zones for them to play that low ground position, but a duo of their standard knows how to play the elevation changes when they come. They're going to position themselves for success game after game. And hey, if there's nobody that's going to be taking that low ground besides Acorn and Edgy, they're finding some room to coexist and just slaying out down there.
Absolutely, but we see it now. The bus path has presented itself, and these players are launching out into the world of Fortnite. Will there be some changes, though? One thing I do want to talk about, and I noticed it in that game, Pink and Anas going down early. Does that mean Clix and Dukes winning the off-spawn engagement at the Joneses?
I don't know that it was a win off spawn. I believe that positioning and the dominance of the off spawn pushed Pink and Anas to make a play that they didn't want to, and then the third parties finished that fight. So a little bit of combination, you know, you might be able to call that a win. It's tough sometimes when it's not a clear victory, as we do tune back in, and there's been a change over at the Daily Bugle. Macwood is a player who's landed here almost the entirety of this chapter. Now telling Threats, it's time to come back. We're going to the Daily Bugle, and this is RPOI.
And as we're talking about Duke and Anas ends up going down in the elimination feed to Duke's. Clix is knocked, I believe, as well. So that fight is really starting to pick up. A Thomas HD, our first place person. He is down right now, but he's not quite out yet.
Now I'll have to see if Tayson can do something special. That's been his career of doing special things. He does go down. So once again, the leaders of this lobby fall early. Last game, it was Seti and Cammy. This game, it's Thomas and Tayson. No one is safe.
No one is safe indeed. Continually, we see our first place team dropping. It is actually Kai and Draftel picking up those eliminations, and you hear the crowd. They're excited, they're chanting. That is a huge moment for them.
And we've seen this fight happen a couple of times. It hasn't necessarily been the standard of off spawn at Rave Cave. Sometimes they've just traded some damage, one player runs away. This time, the fight happens, it's an absolute finish. And Thomas and Tayson now have to rethink their strategy here for the fourth game of the day, 10th overall, which is going to be coming up after this. Now we're seeing what's going on over at the Daily Bugle, because this switch up has been a massive change. If you're Jelty and Vico, you've been dealing with contests this entire tournament. You got to be feeling pretty comfortable, although Macwood and Threats, they're not somebody I'd want to be contesting me.
Well, I want to say this. So Jelty and Vico have been the clear winners of Daily Bugle on all 3 days that we've watched so far. But this could be the one team that dethrones that champion team to land there. Because remember, Macwood Threats, they truly understand how to play Daily Bugle. Macwood specifically being the one that just knows it inside and out. So it'll be interesting to see if Jelty and Vico can continue to hold them off. But now another team just struggling to hold off. It is Hellfire and Tripperin. Remember, we've seen them go down early twice. Now here, they understand that this third game of the day is so vital and crucial to them staying on top or close to the top of the leaderboard.
And right now, they're looking to make a statement. These two, Phantom and Gentile, they're coming into Tripperin and Hellfire's house. Tripperin and Hellfire need to turn them aside to dissuade them from continuing to make these plays, because if Gentle wins this one again, they're coming right back. We do see Tripper and Hellfire are currently winning this battle, but quickly things can change. We're seeing Tripper get on the backside here, hit some shots, not gonna be enough. He gets one knock. Who's gonna win this battle between the two of Hellfire and Gentle? Hellfire is gonna get that finish and look to get his teammate back up here to try and turn this into a 2v1.
Honestly, the longest Gentel takes. Oh no! Hellfire actually picks it up. Gentel doing a good job here of trying to make something happen, but just couldn't.
1 HP. Hellfire was 1 HP. That was so close, but clutching it up. We see that. Now another fight happening over here. It's Chapix going down, as well as Bizzle. It's Dubs versus Z Andy right outside of the Synapse station. Sounds like the FaZe boys have tried to turn this around, take a play out of Z Andy and Chapix's book, go right down to the Synapse station and try and get this team down. But no, the only one going down there is Dubs, as Z Andy cleans that one up.
Man, that was looking good there for Dubs for a moment, and then all of a sudden, Z-Andy just strikes. The way that that shot hit was just so significant, there wasn't much Dubs could do. But significant speaking, it's actually Spy and Hero yet again finding themselves somewhere else on the map.
It's always tough when that happens, and we get to see what happened between Hellfire. One more time, 1 HP. You can't get any lower than that. Able to clutch it up. I mean, whew, I'd be sweating that one. That is not fun.
Not fun by any means, but it looks like Refsguard's having some fun picking up 2 eliminations there. That's a good start for them, and a really nice refresh to the story, because remember, Refsguard, Kovacs, they've been 2 notable names that we've continued to watch time and time again, but not necessarily the team that we've seen on top. However, this could continue to change. If this is a big game for them, they can move from 20th place potentially to 15th, then potentially in the top 10, and continue that slow incline into the leaderboard.
They performed very well in the 0 builds, and on day 1 of the Battle Royale mode, we saw them take positions to try and win games. They performed fairly well. It hasn't been as much of a success as they would have hoped. They want that victory. They want to be holding that trophy at the end of the day, and already putting themselves in a position to do just that. Now another team that is in a similar position as Refsguard and Kovacs, that is going to be Kanata and Giannis, a team that we've wanted to see and expected success out of, coming from Greasy Grove. The 2 players from NA East, EU clashing, or combining together, I should say, to hopefully put themselves up the leaderboard, but hasn't had the success that they've hoped.
Well, remember, the story was them colliding first. It was, in fact, the moments where they actually competed against one another at Greasy Grove in what was a very competitive event. And now they find themselves here on the opposite end. They're together, duoing together, and they seem to be getting the better of Greasy Grove. The only issue is I feel like they're struggling a lot in the mid game, which is unusual for Kanata, but when you're on a stage like this, when you're in an international setting with all of these just incredibly top tier talent members as players, it's tough to continue that consistency.
It is. I looked like one of these 2, Anas or Pink, was able to get some elims earlier on. I believe one of them went down as well, so that fight turned into a reboot, now turned into another fight after the reboot was brought through. Pink does have those 2 elims, so able to get them off spawn. Now trying to find their position as more teams start to rotate into the Joneses, and Pink and Anas going to be completely fine with hanging out down below. They have their damage with 2 elims already. They're fine with everybody else dealing the damage, and we just hang out.
They do hang out, but honestly, that raises the question, right? They got 2 eliminations. Who are the eliminations on? Is it Clix and Duke? Is it another team that potentially came into their area and caused a bit of a fight here early on? That question will be left untold as we watch them continue to try to rotate. Now, actually, looks like so many teams here in the area of the Joneses just trying to get the tags where they can, and unfortunately, they could fall victim here as the storm push now coming out of QJ.
And we see Anas playing outside from the bush. He's hanging out. This is a favorable position. Typically, the rule is you don't want to take trades with somebody in a bush because you never win those. Looks like there was somebody that fell. So now Anas and Pink trying to clean this one up. They are playing this a little more patiently than the other team. Actually, it seems like everyone's playing this patiently, not necessarily wanting to commit to a fight. As we see the disengage comes through, everyone's super healthy, and we're going to fight in another zone. We will be seeing where this zone is pulling, and this is once again a very central zone. It seems like this entire tournament, besides a couple of matches, has been right in the middle of this, and Tripper and Hellfire, you see the first place team go down early. Now it is time to reclaim that top spot.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams here, Camiseti being one of them as well, they're going to be looking, vying for their chance to climb right back up the leaderboard where they belong. They know that that is their spot for them to regain. It's just a matter of time and being consistent. We know this team to be consistent, but the first 2 games of today, unfortunately, they just struggled.
And Tripper and Hellfire have to be careful. Baylor and FKS made a play on the Seti and Cammy last game that took them out early, and it looks like they're sneaking, trying to do the same here. This could be another huge swing. Baylor and FKS are playing the heel right now, taking down some of the top teams, maybe not on purpose, but they're just trying to do whatever they can to find elims. They're doing so by playing patiently, not necessarily trying to jump in boxes, being the most mechanical. Hellfire and Tripper, and before they even realize what's going on, quickly get out of there. And Baylor and FKS have to set up the trap for another person.
Yeah, listen, one thing led to another, and Hellfire, Tripper, they didn't have to worry about it. I'm curious, though. I feel like they have no idea this team is close by, so they definitely need to be careful here. But looking at what they have in the inventory, looking at the vehicle they have, this is their game to come back. They have everything they need to be successful. It's just a matter of, will they be able to execute on it?
I think they do. This seems to be their game now, and I believe we've seen the success of them over and over again. Now we're checking in, seeing how this fight happens between Fatch and Carry, Amar and Vidil. A tough spot to be in. Both teams need a lot of points to put themselves up where they want to be, and Vidil is trying to cover for Amar, who is quite weak. Fatch and Carry not going to be able to finish that one up. They're going to start their rotate in, and that's enough for that one. Vidil putting pressure on, but this fight appears to be over for the time being.
Yeah, and it's interesting, right? We saw Fatch and Carry struggle a bit there in day one. Now looking to kind of change up what they're doing here, and it's interesting that it actually has led them to find Amar and Vidil at this point in the game. But Amar needs to be careful. He's got 3 HP. Now, he does have an inventory of heals, but he's actually opting to save them. It almost seems like he's prioritizing what could be a potential heal off in the future. But no, as I say that, the med kit is down there for him to take. So makes perfect sense why he was holding off on the chug splashes. But nevertheless, they're still in the game, still trying to do stuff, and still gonna have to move.
Those chug splashes are just too valuable to use at this point. If you're not getting pressured, you can take it a little more slowly and wait for that opportunity to use those, because using them that early on, they are the quickest heal, especially because they have that splash heal ability to get your teammate and yourself healed as quickly as possible. It's both shield and regular HP where both players are going for it. It's an interesting play, but something that we've seen a lot of top players using is now Cammy, Seti, they're looking for revenge in this game. Want to reclaim that top spot and put themselves where they think they belong.
It's not where they think they belong, it's where they belong,
okay.
Right? We know Seti and Cammy to be some of the most consistent players without this entire event. You look at their DreamHack performances, their FNCS performances, everything leads to us saying that they are the, if not the most consistent duo on EU, maybe even internationally.
Hey, most people would have said they're the favorite coming in. I mean, obviously, we have teams like Tayson Thomas, Tripper, and Hellfire as well. We can name a number of them, but I would have to say that Seti Cammy likely the large favorite coming in, and they've done nothing but prove that everyone was right. They've played so well, a couple of down matches, but I don't expect that to continue. These two are not ones that let themselves continue to fall. They will continue to rise, and that is the only thing that matters here is Storm Surge beginning to hit some players around. This could be an opportunity for Seti and Cammy to watch this, grab a couple more points if this fight continues, because Seti and Cammy, we see that blue house in the background. They're hanging out, watching every move that goes on here, and once this fight starts, it will be that third party that comes through.
Yeah, they're just hanging out, having fun, and they want to be number one. That's what it is here as they continue to just wait this out. But other players that aren't waiting it out, it's FHD and Youngs just diving in here. And Dawkins gonna go down. It is FHD almost getting that full elimination, but it was actually Surge that ends up taking him out.
That's tough, not able to get enough damage quick enough, and it's gonna be Malfin and Doken taking that one down. And we've seen this one before. It's FKS and Baylor hanging out nearby. They're not looking to sneak though. They're in their own builds. Everyone knows what's going on at this point, as we do see Cammy picking up an elim there. Chapik's gonna be able to get the other one on that duo, so a little bit of teamwork from a couple of other duos, getting some elims, putting themselves further up the leaderboard. Now, we'll see where this third zone is going to pull and force our players to decide how to play this game.
It's kind of interesting, right? You see you see Baylor and Co. They continually find themselves connecting with one of the top 10 teams. And it feels like after them taking out Steady and Cammy, they've grew this new level of confidence in any fight that they take. Because when you take out the top team, that means you know what you're doing, right? Like, it's no easy task by any means, but wait. What am I seeing? It is Pilkey and his teammate here going for a bit of a unique play.
All right, I have to ask you. One, have we ever seen this at this level of competition? And two, do you think this is gonna work?
No, this is not going to work. And no, we haven't seen it at this high level of competition. But Pilkey and SJ looking to change things up. They haven't necessarily had the most success of the teams here, but they're looking to change that here with a bit of a different strategy. Again, we haven't seen this in top tier competitive play up until this point, so this could be a changing factor.
They are well below on Storm Surge. That is not going to be something that they even try and worry about within this match. They're just going to try and get themselves in, out-heal the Storm Surge. And this duo, how they got here was through heal off, and it's been nerfed multiple times since they've been able to qualify. They're actually really close. They might secretly be able to sneak in here unless Storm Surge causes any issues for them.
Yeah, and here it is, Storm Surge now causing a lot of damage coming through. You see they're 510 damage below. So unless the players down under start fighting and start relentlessly fighting, they're going to be suffering from what is a very, very dangerous surge. So they have to be active. They're going to need to do something to mitigate that because they just do not have the heals to completely tank that.
And this is not a zone where we typically see a lot of fights happening from players due to rotates. There will be a couple as we see Giannis and Kanata take down a duo, but when zone pulls to a POI with lots of buildings and natural cover, players have that cover and won't be forced to fight or get tagged up on their rotates. So all these players are simply just going to be looking to get themselves into a position because it's a lot harder to find those tags as everyone's moving through. Obviously, Storm Surge is forcing a couple of fights throughout the map, and Pilkey does go down there. Someone looked up and saw that. That was only a matter of time. Hey, valiant effort, right, Panda?
A valiant effort indeed. You know, look, it was a choice. It was an interesting choice, but as you can see, it didn't necessarily work out. However, is that just Pilkey down? Wait, is his teammate still alive?
He might be. That could also have been the play there, is to allow one teammate to go down. That's one less person that has to worry about Storm Surge. And if that's the final person for Surge, hey, sometimes you got to make sacrifices. They are heal-off players, understanding that not everyone can stay alive within these final zones. We do kind of see in the corner that Aqua just peeked up, not able to recognize that that's going on. These two, Aqua, Vino, once again looking to play that position, looking to sustain and hold the high ground very early on. And hey, why not, man? It's worked for them several times. Once they position themselves up, cross your fingers, you get some booga zones, and you're chilling.
You get some booga zones. But look, speaking of the opposite of chilling, it's Mustache and Bad Sniper there getting pressed. Fortunately, does have that armored wall. Going to keep them a little bit safer here as we go and prepare ourselves for the 5th zone. But Aquavino, they're in a spot where we know them oh too well to be.
And they pulled zone.
And that is prepping for high ground, and they were blessed here. With all that usage of the materials that they just put forward, they're able to now hold that spot and honestly be set up for success here going into these final moments.
And they're quickly able to recognize that someone was trying to chop them. So instead of just simply waiting for them to get chopped out, they hear the shots coming from down below, hear their build's getting broken, and they're like, all right, we'll just go reconnect. It's no worries. You guys maybe make me waste a couple of mats. We do see SJ go down there. So the ultimate tower from the sky, that is no longer going to be happening. A couple of players may see that up above, but nonetheless, it is going to be the ultimate tower built on Aqua and Vino's high ground.
Yeah, the tower indeed, but so many other players still now have to make their way in. Cammy, Seti actually being one of those players. They actually look to be set up quite nicely here. They are going to just create some separation. Now looking back, it could have been Malibuka there if he spent even more than one more moment they're focusing in on him. That could have been bad for Malabuka, but Cammy now just being patient. This is what we know them to do. This is why they're so consistent. They do not take unnecessary risk, and they're so calculated in every move they make.
Such like an opposite here. No, not taking risks, and then we see Vino just hopping in the box, grabbing a couple of elims, and he knows, hey, I'm one of the best fraggers in the world. I'm gonna go get those elims, make sure me and Aqua can stay on the high ground and continue to put themselves where they want to be. That's the perfect combination. That's why those duos work so well. Here's a team that's been relatively quiet as far as what we've seen from them. Nonetheless, they were in the top 3. So maybe we are being quiet about Scram and Andalex because they have dominated here and put themselves in a position to now overtake Tayson and Thomas in this match.
Yeah, while all that was going on, we see another couple of eliminations coming through there for Malabuka and Epic Whale. It's actually Nema and his teammate both going down there to the duo, so that's the points they need to continue to climb. Remember, second place going into this game, and they want that top spot with Thomas, HD, and Tayson both out of this one.
And Zone is going to pull down to the east, so we'll see how these duos go and move through this. It's an interesting position to be in because there is no elevation changes. This is a great place for low ground to be able to hang out. It's also a great place for high ground to slay out and grab a number of eliminations. We see high ground is still going to be held by Aqua and Vino, putting themselves in a position. We see Trippern go down. He is going to get knocked. I believe Hellfire is still up trying to find his way through this lobby, but it's Aqua staying on the backside, waiting for the opportunity to move forward. Does not want to invest too many materials without knowing that he'll get them back.
I mean, and that's the play to make here in these final moments, but Andalix now struggling, not too much left here. He's gonna need to refarm. Good play on his, and good identifying that early on so he can get that refresh there just a little bit. Just a couple more mats. It's definitely going to make an impact. But now Vino Aqua on the high ground, looking to pressure teams down below. Again, I can't stress this enough. This team is dangerous. When they have the high ground, very few teams can ever even compete to take it.
We see Hellfire get eliminated as well, so both Hellfire and Trippern are out. There's some room to move on this leaderboard. It is so close between our top teams, and this is one of them trying to make some movements. It's Andalex and Scram looking to claim this top spot with a couple of the duos going down early. They're already grabbing some elims. That's the refresh they need. They notice where this is going. This is a very low ground dominant position where they can slay out on that low ground, but it's Cammy and Seti realizing the exact same thing.
You got Cammy, Seti still in the game, Hellfire, Trippern still in the game, Epic Whale, Malabuka still in the game. So many of the top 10 here just trying to perform and try to make something happen. Andalex being one of them here with Scram. Huge shots come through, but nothing's really going to connect. It's actually Vico just above, barely scraping by, so very, very close action here for Andalix. He just needs to continue to hold on. But speaking of holding on, it's Vino actually getting challenged for high ground. Aqua potentially up top. But man, Vino now connecting a massive shot to continue the story of high ground. But no, he goes down.
That is going to be a big elimination there. That is Chapix taking him down. They've been the thorn on the side of high ground, now going to be able to claim it themselves. Aqua goes all the way down to the ground. He runs out of materials, and he's now looking at this game from the opposite side. We do see that Chapix was able to claim the high ground. It actually appears that Seti wants to take it back, but no, turned aside. Chapix holding his own, grabbing it all himself.
It's an interesting play there from Cammy and Seti. They didn't have it. They knew they could look for it. And while they're not necessarily the team we always see on high ground, there are no slouches. They can easily take it if they really want to. But bad sniper now, losing his teammate in Mustache is going to pick up an elimination and just try to stay alive here on the low ground.
We see the continuance of this mid ground. Seti and Cammy will be looking for a play to win this game. They know that space must be claimed. When you're trying to grab a position, it's one more zone. Otherwise, you have to move out. Someone that's getting pressured here, that's Queasy and Hen. They're on the back foot because Malabuka and Epic Whale, they're turning everyone aside. This is their space. They're knocking on doors, kicking them down, and saying, "Get out me lobby."
They get out of the lobby here as Chapix and Z-Andy just continue to press forward. Epic Whale's down. Malabuka very weak. Does get a knock there, and that Siphon now comes through. He sees the chunk splashes in hand. A huge refresh for him, so he should be able to hold on as a solo player and just try to make something happen.
And back to Seti and Cammy continuing their dominance on this mid ground. They're taking out everyone within their lobby. They want every single elimination, and it could be time for that high ground play as Andy and Chapix are running low, but no, the grappler brings those mats back in. It stacks them back up, and they're ready for the rest of this game, but it is all our heavy hitters within this match. Acorn and Edgy have something to say about this game. They're putting themselves on low ground, but no, they're gonna get turned aside. That is a tough position to be in.
A tough position to be in indeed. So much still going on here as we look at it, break it down. Acorn still alive as a solo player. Cammy actually getting an elimination there onto Queasy. Chapix getting elimination onto Hin. So much still happening in these final moments. A 2v2 situation here on the high ground. It's Andy, Chapix going against Cammy and Seti. Who will end up coming out on top? Cammy goes down. Seti is a solo player just trying to clean it up. We hear it, we see it. So much still left to go.
Can the final play be made? The drop down comes through. Andy is going to fall, looks to make a play, and he does. He's able to clean that one up. It's Seti and Cammy falling in second, but not before reclaiming a ton of points. We've seen Chapix and Andy make these plays. They're turning right